Let's assume you want to start drawing digitally. You go online, search for a tablet and leave because you're too overwhelmed by the infinite amount of choices. So how do you choose the best drawing tablet for you? In this video I want to answer that question. I will give you suggestions based on different needs, software preference and budget. I'll go through my personal pros and cons for each category and tell you who in my opinion these devices can be perfect for, so that this will hopefully be an ultimate guide for you to choose your perfect drawing tablet for 2026. If you're new here, hi, I'm Hallie, I'm a digital artist focused on character design and this is my art channel. Welcome or welcome back. In the era we are currently living in, tech companies are releasing so many products each year that it's actually hard to keep up. At the same time, people read less, draw less, and even choosing a drawing tablet can feel like a burden, especially if you've never drawn before and you still need to learn. This guide is for people who still want to keep their creativity alive in a world of generated images. I will make this video as simple, short and sweet as possible, and the only specs I will focus on will be those that will impact your drawing experience, so that there will be no useless confusion. I started my art journey with a Wacom Bamboo, an affordable screenless tablet that jump-started my passion for digital art. Today they do not make that model anymore. Actually, I believe it is renamed as One by Wacom, but there are many alternatives in that same price range, like the Evergreen Intro series, perfect if you're just starting out, and some of these are also easy to throw in a backpack if you're on the go. Similar models are made by Huion with the Inspire series and XP Pen 2, with some products being very budget-friendly, starting at around 30 euros. And that's a good starting point, but who are these for? One thing you have to remember with screenless tablets is that you need to own a desktop PC or a laptop for them to work. Some of these of course are compatible even with phones or other tablets, but in general this will be an accessory to your main device. So assuming you already have a laptop or a desktop PC at home, this can be a fantastic device to add to your setup. In my opinion, especially when it comes with larger models like the Intros Pro, this is more of a home setup device. There are definitely better option out there if you're an on-the-go artist. So for people who are just starting out and aren't super sure if they really enjoy digital art, this can be a great starting point because you can actually use this device for other tasks. It can be pretty handy for editing photos if you're a photographer, or if you're a graphic designer, for vectors or more structured graphics or 3D modeling even. I did so much with the little Wacom Bamboo, I actually kinda miss it for doing that type of things. Now, all the options I showed you before are very affordable, but of course there are high-tier models like the Intros Pro. The pressure levels are improved for sure, the sensitivity is better, but in my opinion these are perfect only if your budget is higher and you really don't have room in your desk to fit another monitor. Otherwise, I think that the lower tier models are totally fine for their end goal, and as the pricing gets higher, there are other options you can consider for your setup. And now we get into the fun devices, the monitor tablets like this one. This one is from XP Pen, it's the Artist 16 pen display, which is a very nice low to mid-tier device that doesn't occupy that much space on your desk, and it can also double as a second monitor if you get a nice stand for it. But this is of course just an example of what you can do with a monitor tablet. When it comes to monitor tablets, the choices are really endless and it can be very hard to choose. They can go from 300 to even 3000 euros, so I decided to mention some of my favorite devices in each price range. For the low to mid-tier price range, I suggest you the Artist series by XP Pen, which is the one I own, or going a little bit higher in price, the Canvas 16 by Huion, which has a 2K monitor and it should be color calibrated. I think this is one of the best at its price range. For the high tier, I suggest you the Huion Canvas Pro 24 or 27 if you want a huge monitor, and we are already touching professional levels with these products here, and the Wacom Cintiq Pro 17 or 22, which have been recently released, and they both feature 120Hz 4K pen display and high color accuracy, and of course they do, considering their pricing. Now, the high-end pen displays will generally feature a touchscreen, which is very convenient, but do not be fooled. The way the touchscreen works and performs still relies on the software, and with some softwares the experience still is a bit Not great. You can get the most expensive top-tier monitor ever, but as I mentioned, for the screenless tablets as well, this will be connected to your PC. This means that your system will actually do 95% of the work and the performance will completely rely on that, especially on the GPU. Having a higher budget doesn't necessarily mean that the highest tier model is the best choice for you, so keep that in mind. You can see that all the devices I mentioned have similar specs at the end of the day. The outcome of your art will turn out pretty much the same and the experience won't change that much, especially between the mid and high-end devices. What is extremely important though is the actual display and how they show colors. With low and mid-tier devices, you might need a little bit of calibration. They may come out a bit oversaturated out of the box, like this XP pen here. I calibrated it using my Dell monitors as a reference and still isn't as perfect as I would like it to be. But again, for the price, cannot really complain. The drawing experience is lovely to me. So who are these devices for? People who already own a PC setup and mostly home drawing artists. And also artists who are already experienced in traditional art. I really suggest you to get a monitor tablet like this one. The workflow will be way easier and linear to get used to, contrary to the screenless tablets, which yes, it can be cheaper, but they have quite of a learning curve and takes a little bit of time to get used to the hand-eye coordination. A monitor tablet allows you to get straight into the drawing process without going through that learning curve, which is even more important if you aim to be a professional. But this is also for beginners. If you're a new artist that wants to dive into this world and explore new techniques, someone that maybe already has a little bit of experience in drawing but still has to find their style. I think that for those people it's best to draw by looking at their hand so that you can emulate the paper experience pretty much. But what if you prefer to draw on the go and do not have a home studio? This brings us to portable tablets. Here we are, reached the last category, and I must admit, my favorite one. As you may know if you watched my other videos, it is my day-to-day device of choice. A portable tablet like an iPad allows you to take the PC or the laptop completely out of the equation, because this is a mobile device, it's already a PC itself. It has its own OS, making it, as a matter of fact, the best on-the-go device. On my day-to-day work, I use an iPad Pro 12.9 inches. This is the 2019 model and it has had quite a ride. And while I'm here, let me tell you this, can we please debunk the fact that we need to upgrade our perfectly working tech each year? Because we don't. This iPad is 6 years old and it never gave me a problem as we're speaking. Because you guys, these devices are expensive. So as long as something works, why should we upgrade it? Let's try to make our tech last as long as we can. With that being said, the main characteristics of tablets like this is obviously portability and the fact that you don't need anything else besides, of course, the pen and a good cover for it. You don't want to risk damaging it while you're on the go, and there are less choices in each price range, which can be a good thing since we already have so many devices we can choose from. For the entry, mid-tier level, one device I really like is the Magic Drawing Pad by XP Pen. I won't talk too in depth about this because I have a full review on my channel. I'll leave it here for you to watch later if you're interested, but in short, this is a lovely entry-level tablet, and one of its pros, in my opinion, is the laminated matte display. Pair it with the felt nib on the pen and the drawing experience will be buttery smooth. This runs on Android like many other tablets from this category, like the recent Huion Canvas Lite to the Galaxy Tabs from Samsung. Now, Android is tricky sometimes because since it runs on so many devices, it isn't really optimized for each one of them, and that can make tablets a little laggy sometimes, especially when working on a very big canvas and softwares like Clip Studio Paint, at least in my experience, which is a shame since some of these devices are very powerful. So if you need a more reliable product, I would move on to a Galaxy tablet or an iPad. Now, when it comes to the screen and color fidelity, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, there is nothing like the iPad. Even the cheaper ones, these are some of the best screens you can find out there, and I have tried a lot over the years, still trying to find something that compares to this thing. Plus, extremely important, the Apple Pencil is honestly the star of the show. The way it works with the iPad, especially with a software like Procreate, which is built around it, in my experience, gives the most natural drawing feeling of all the devices I mentioned. Now, I wouldn't suggest to go ahead and get an iPad Pro straight away, unless you are a pro of course and have a bigger budget, because both the base model iPad and the iPad Air are absolutely fantastic, powerful devices. I'm telling you, mine is very old and still a beast. Now, all of this sounds fantastic and a portable tablet may seem like the best choice, but there are some limitations that you need to be aware of. First of all, the screen. Obviously, you are limited to 13 inches for most tablets. If this ends up being a convenience or a limitation is your choice and depends on your preference. And obviously the fact that you can only work with what your OS offers, which today is a lot to be fair, but still not a desktop. So who are these devices for? For always on-the-go artists who don't need desktop PC power and prefer portability, especially when considering affordable devices. For digital artists who don't own a desktop PC or a laptop to connect their monitor tablet, but still want a powerful device to do it all. On higher tier tablets, like the iPads for example, you could potentially edit 4K videos no problem, with a little external drive of course. Now you might watch this video and tell me, but Hallie, you have a desktop PC right behind you and a huge setup, why would you go with an iPad? As I said before, I like to bring my work with me everywhere I go, so the iPad was the perfect choice. Honestly, I didn't even think twice. I do not want to be limited to this desk when I work. Plus, let's be honest, this is mostly my gaming setup that I also use for work. So after trying many devices over the years and considering the type of illustrations I do, I decided that the iPad was the best device for me. As you saw before, I still keep other devices in my drawer just in case I need to work on particular projects that require desktop power, and that has happened before. So in conclusion, let's simplify it. Screenless tablets are mostly for artists who still want to explore this world and give it a try. Monitor tablets are both for beginner and professional artists who own a good PC setup and mainly want to work from home or simply want a bigger screen. Portable tablets for always on-the-go artists who do not own a laptop or PC setup or simply want to work from their couch and need an all-in-one device. There is an entire different category of monitor tablets, the so-called standalone tablets. These are, in a few words, pen displays with a PC inside. I want to mention these products to make this video as complete as possible and just so you know they exist, but to be fair, I am not a fan of this because you are very limited, they are not very future-proof, and in contrast with a smaller tablet, this doesn't even have the convenience or the portability, although they are very cool looking. I say go give it a look just out of curiosity, but I have to be honest with you and give you my opinion, I cannot see myself using one of these devices ever. So I don't really feel like suggesting this to you. Thank you so much for watching guys, I hope this video answered all of your questions. Let me know in the comments what is your opinion, and if you're an experienced artist, please don't hesitate to leave your favorite device and give suggestions. I'm sure beginner artists out there can benefit from everyone's perspective and point of view. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll take the chance to wish you all a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!